Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today I want to have a bit of a discussion about a feature that we need in Total War Warhammer 3, and for that we need to go back to the skill points that are now awarded automatically, such as the mount options and, well, pretty much anything else. It would be nice if we had some extra customization, I'm just going to outright say it, and it's something that harkens back to the tabletop, especially for the tabletop, and something that would just be nice in the future when it comes to future historical games too. So a relatively new mod has just dropped on the workshop a few days ago, known as Alternate Weapon Choices Early Alpha. This will be linked in the description below if you want to try it out for yourself, but keep in mind that it is very early alpha. And what this does is it gives you extra skill points, as you can see on screen, but they're automatic and it's just a different weapon option. So this means that your Chaos Lord can then have access to a Great Axe or a Halberd, which I think is absolutely awesome, as on the tabletop when you were preparing your armies, you would gear out your characters, your lords and your heroes to fit your specific needs. Sometimes you wanted them to have a great weapon, sometimes you wanted them to have a Halberd or sword and board, additional hand weapons, given the limitations of what the character was able to have, of course. Now, on this mod, how it works is that you will have access to the weapon at level 2, and then you can then pick them around via the mount option. Unfortunately, at this very time, if you decide to use one of the special items, because there's no other toggle area, you won't be able to switch around mounts and then also have a great axe whilst being mounted on a juggernaut or a chariot, which is a bit of a shame, but then again, very early alpha, things might change in the future for the mod. And nothing will really change when you're on the whole display thing on the campaign map itself, but when they're on battle, you'll start to see the changes. So I'm going to showcase 4 different Orc War bosses. This is 4 armies, each of them with a different weapons, and I'll start cycling through other characters and all that too. But I think this is really, really cool, and it's definitely something that we do need in the setting, as it'll provide a bit of customability, and it'll just allow you to tailor your lords as well as you want. This kind of just deals with the whole why have separate types of heroes or lords, which are the same, just a different loadout. I believe the Vampire Coast Lords, the only difference is one has a range and one has a halberd. So rather than having that, why not have this as a weapon option so you can switch them around, and this allows you just to have more fun. Maybe you want a tankier Chaos Lord of Khorne, so you want him with a shield instead of dual weapons, or maybe you want them with a halberd. It's a bit weird that we can't get them with halberds and shields because we could on the tabletop, but hey, these are the things that kind of come in, plus it is technically a two-handed weapon. Or maybe you want the Chaos Lord of Sinesh having a Hell Scourge, as he really should have a Hell Scourge instead of a sword and shield. I imagine, I'm not 100% too sure here, that a lot of the animations are shared between Chaos Warriors and Chaos Lords too. It would be a bit different when you start taking into account, like, say, for example, Empire Captains and Greatsword units and all that. But think about it, it is just something that is going to add in a lot more flavor for the actual game. Obviously, if you pick a different weapon, that means that you'll have different stats, hell, some different abilities too. If you have a halberd, you'll be anti-large. If you have a great weapon, you'd have armor piercing. If you have additional hand weapons, you'd have anti-infantry. It would just be nice to have these options in the future officially done by Creative Assembly. I don't know if this is feasible by them and something that it's a completely new system, but if it's done by modders, at least the framework is there, so it, in theory, is possible by Creative Assembly. All I'm saying is more customization options would be really, really popular, and it would just add a lot more flavor to the game. It doesn't have to be every weapon, like I said. Keep to the restrictions that were there on the tabletop, so certain characters cannot use certain things, but just enough to allow you to play around a little bit would be cool. Just imagine, with your Chaos Swords, being able to switch around through all the weapon options that you have available on the tabletop, like additional hand weapons, halberds, great weapons like we've seen already in this mod, or getting an Empire Captain with a Hockland long rifle in the future, or just a handgun if we end up getting a null-based DLC like we're kind of expecting in the future anyway. It would just add a lot more to it. Different weapon options for your Bretonnian lords, because, yeah, you could actually have different weapon options on the tabletop. It wasn't just the sword, you had the lance too, you also had the Morningstar. It was just nice to have some variety. A vampire character, lord or hero, but with additional hand weapons to be more of a blender, which tabletop fans will happily remember, as they were usually quite terrifying. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. This is an idea that I hope Creative Assembly do take and just implement on their own. Obviously, it does help if people are vocal, which is why I'm kind of making this video, because after just playing with this mod, it's like, wow, I really wish something like this was official. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.